Yo, what is up? This is Robert here with a quick explainer video how to use phase flare properly with the pinball witch phase flare build. Because there are some specialties to it when it comes to which items to use, how to interact with the orb so it doesn't get stuck on obstacles, how to work with it when it comes to blitz, because sometimes you want to punch the orb but you accidentally blitz through to enemies, and when it comes to which weapons to use. And that being said, I should also switch over to Cryo because I just killed Graveward with it and I used fire for that. So, phase flare. Lesson number 1. When you use phase flare, the moment you activate your action skill, you want to hold in hand the Psycho Stabber weapon. The Psycho Stabber is the weapon that has the highest melee damage increase of any weapon in the game, but you will not use it to shoot. You will never shoot the Psycho Stabber. You can punch with it. This will actually hurt enemies quite a lot. But the reason why we're using the Psycho Stabber when we start our action skill is because whenever we punch our action skill, it gains increased damage. And as you just said, we melted that guy. This is a Frostbite heavyweight. He should actually not take damage from this because he's immune to cryo damage. But he died anyway. And that is because we already imbued the orb with so much damage that... okay, now the duration is over. That it is able to one-shot most things by just touching it. During that, we also already demonstrated lesson number 2. When you want to punch the orb and you are close to an enemy, then it's very likely that you will pass through the enemy thanks to one of the skills from the skill tree, and that is Blitz. Blitz also gives us a ton of melee damage, which is nice for the build, but it has the problem that if you're close to an enemy, instead of punching the orb, it's a perfect example, we might go through the enemy, and if this happens, just move behind him and punch the orb again. So you don't want to be in a situation where you run back accidentally because you just activated Blitz. Instead, just run further, go into fight for your life, and then recall the orb. So you just run past the guy that you just punched, and then just press F or whatever your action skill button is to call the orb, which is faster and more effective than running back and trying to punch the orb again. Because what's mostly going to happen in this instance, if you accidentally blitz through, the time it takes you to go back and punch the orb again is enough time for the blitz cooldown to reset, and then you blitz another time, and then you wasted precious seconds of your action skill. So whenever you can, just use the recall button and recall the orb this way. Next weapon, next lesson, the orb gets stuck. So that obviously is a thing that happens quite a lot, and that's also the reason why I chose Athena's for this video, because here it happens very, very often. So sometimes you go into an area, you wanna cast the orb, and you wanna throw it at a bunch of enemies that are over there. And then this happens. If I actually get my action skill back, there it is. It gets stuck on this little pebble. And no matter how often you want to punch it, it does not go through. If this happens, also just jump over it and recall it. Because the orb can travel over obstacles, and it will go through most obstacles just fine if you are using the recall button. So even now I'm behind a bunch of stuff, but the orb manages to get to me. And then you can punch it again, and then it will go out to enemies. So if you have a feeling that the orb gets stuck, just move to where you want to be and then pull it back to you, and then you can punch it again. Alright, Next lesson. Speaking of punching, so now we established that we always want to have the Psycho Stabber out because it imbues the orb with as much melee damage that it can do when we start the action skill. After we punched it once, we can switch to the face puncher and we can start shooting things. And then you will realize very quickly that if you don't kill stuff, you will do very, very little damage with the face puncher. And that is because this skill tree shines the best with all the kill skills it has. So that means as long as you're killing things, or after you kill things, you will one-shot enemies with your face puncher. So now that I've killed some enemies, I'm doing millions and millions of damage. As with before, I did very, very little. And that is because I have all my kill skills active. So the kill skills, they are at the bottom of the screen. I will just let them expire now, and then you will see the difference. So now all the kill skills are done. And now if I shoot at this one guy that is still over there. There you go, like it's 1 million damage. It's like nothing. But after I managed to get a kill, this damage will go up significantly, which we will see once we get to the next area. And this is why you always want to use these two weapons with this build. The face puncher, because it transfers all your melee damage into the pellets. And a normal face puncher has 7 pellets, and every pellet can be very, very devastating with all the kill skills active from the skill tree. And this Psycho Stabber to imbue your Face Flare orb with the base damage. So we're gonna cast this here, punch it once, switch to the face puncher. Not much damage, but as soon as we kill something, bam, we can one-shot this guy, one-shot this guy. And this is just from our kill skills, this is not the orb doing anything. Let's just bring the orb over here. Okay, bring the orb over here. This is just a face puncher doing things. I'm not using the orb at the moment. Okay, now the orb actually disappeared anyway. But that's basically why you want to use the orb in the very beginning, to deal some initial damage. And then as soon as your orb killed something, you can go ham with the face puncher. And this, by the way, is much more effective than any other weapon. Like, for example, this, the Light Show, one of the most devastating weapons in the entire game, does not do much. I mean, it kills things, but it kills things very slow. Whereas with the face puncher, boom, one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot. Okay, not quite, that's a badass. For badass, I need 3 pellets, one shot. And that is the power of the face puncher right there. And right now I'm not using my action skill at all. I'm basically only using the kill skills from the skill tree and the face puncher. Okay, now we come up to bosses. So for bosses as well, we want to use our face puncher. This will blitz through. So we're gonna call the orb. That kills those guys, kills this guy. And that should be about it. I'm not sure if I can take the orb directly to Trond. I'm gonna try. But I'm not sure if it will follow me. I probably don't have enough duration. And it doesn't follow me. But it's fine. So yeah, and for bosses you want to do the same. Ideally you just killed someone, so you still have your kill skills active. But even without it, it's fine. Basically the only thing you remember with bosses is also have your Psycho Stabber out. And then just punch the orb a bunch of times, and this will make sure that you... and make sure that you're far away from the boss so you don't accidentally blitz to it. And yeah... latest with the fourth punch, you will one-shot the boss. So there's very, very little bosses that can survive a single face flare after you punched it 4 times. Just be careful, if you punch it 5 times, it will disappear, no matter how much duration you have left on your action skill. So ideally, you bring the orb out, punch it 3 times, and then you punch it into the boss. Yeah, and this is all thanks to the itemization. These two weapons, totally essential. Plus, what definitely also helps is the Muse com, which you can only get from DLC 4. Unfortunately, if you don't own DLC 4, you can't even equip this. Then what also helps for bosses is a grenade with on grenade thrown action skill damage is increased by 25% for 6 seconds. And what also helps for bosses, especially when you're using the cryo action skill element, is an icebreaker artifact. Ideally, this should be an icebreaker static charge. Then you also have more damage against shielded enemies. But for this, for mobbing and for bossing, this is huge. For bossing, especially if the bosses have adds, because the capstone of Enlightened Force makes it so that bosses ignore elemental resistances, and this is actually huge. If you manage to get a random add in a boss fight and activate all your kill skills, you can freeze any boss in the game, including Wotan in the Maliwan takedown, just because if you load up your orb with tons of melee damage, and if the boss ignores elemental resistances, then it will get frozen by the orb, and then thanks to the icebreaker artifact, you deal another 300% increased damage to that enemy when it is frozen. And if that happens with the boss is just dead. And yeah, that's how this build works. Forget your normal guns, bring out your face punchers, learn how to use the orb, use the pull mechanic of it if the punches don't work, and then yeah, just practice getting that orb over the obstacles and through the enemies. And again, the more enemies you kill with this thing, the longer you will have fun with it. Punch it around to increase its damage. The first time you punch it with the Psycho Stabber, and yeah. Also try out different elements. Like I said, Cryo definitely works the best because it has so many synergies with the skill tree. But then again, if you, for example, fight a boss like Graveyard, Grave Ward, I always say Graveyard, I don't know why, then use fire, definitely, and you can melt him. You can also showcase that again, because it is really fun. And I still want a Brawler Shield. I still don't have a Brawler Shield from him. Maybe we get one now, because I'm making a video, and it's the demo effect. I didn't switch to fire. So we might not one-shot him, actually. Let's see. Okay, got him there. It's gonna be close. No, we didn't do it. Alright. We failed. Let me try that again with fire. Classic demo effect. Okay. Fire. And let's go. 1, 2, 3. I didn't hit the orb. 3. Okay. That looks a lot better. Although the orb is stuck there now. Okay, there we go. And there he is. Yeah, and that's how you one-shot Graveyard with just the action skill. And did we get a Brawler Ward? No, we get a Rectifier. And another Conference Call. Grave, yeah, I got the Grave drop quite often, but the Ward, not so much. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you learned something about Phase Flare. Very fun skill. Takes some practice to get used to it, but certainly very, very capable in both mobbing and bossing situations. Thanks for watching and see you around.